What's up, everyone? How are you? Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chad Anderson. He's Jamie Golliver. We're here for our fourth episode. We've dived into a few different topics, and today we're going to talk about the timing of purchasing a home. But first things first, you need to visit us at the website up there, chadwickanderson.com. Also, if you could subscribe to any of the socials over there in that far top right corner, like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, drop a comment, hit us with a direct message, ask us any questions you may have, set up a calendar meeting with us as well. If you want to, hang out, tell bad dad jokes, or actually talk about mortgages, we can do that in real estate and finance and budgeting and all the things that unfortunately society does not teach you. We can do that for you. All right. So Jamie, welcome in, man. How you been?
Chad, doing well. How about you, man? How's everything going?
Can't complain. We've pretty much left those overnight 30-degree temperatures and we're slowly climbing. We're almost to April. Sun's out a little bit more, golfing weather, baseball weather. So it's pretty good. Hard to complain right now.
Yeah, opening day for the majors this week. Who are the Cubs opening with?
Cubs actually open with the World Series champion Texas Rangers on the road.
Oh, did you hear that?
I heard Ohtani has the under.
Yeah. Yeah, Ohtani said he wasn't going to, risk anything. He was just going to stay quiet on it. So
yeah, Bruce Pearl has the night off though, and he may visit and check out the game. So
Bruce does have the night off. I think he's throwing a barbecue or something.
All right. Well, you can't have a barbecue if you don't own a home. I guess you could, but you'd be doing it at somebody else's house. So let's talk about the timing of buying a home. So there's two things that go with timing. One is seasonality. So Jamie, you've been a home buyer. You went through the process. You did all those things. I talk with home buyers or potential home buyers every single day. It's always one of those things you try to plan out in life. When you and Diana were purchasing, I don't really remember this, but I don't even remember, to be honest, exactly what time of year you closed. But, from a thing where you got life in the way, and you're trying to go through this huge purchase. Was there anything about the time of year that, had you either more urgent or less urgent or indifferent about when you guys purchased?
Yeah. So for Diana and I, both being teachers at the time that we were looking to buy, we really focused on the summertime, and we looked a lot in June and July. And as I mentioned in an earlier episode, that's when we came up on the house that we found just one afternoon. Diana had saw it posted online, and we just happened to swing by here and was like, man, this place is awesome. So for us, it was kind of the summertime of the year when we had a little more time to look with you as we were kind of going around and scouting the different areas. And we ended up closing in September. I remember we were doing Bob Jones football. And I remember one of the last things when we moved from the apartment to the home, I made sure to leave the television and one of our camping chairs in the apartment because that weekend I watched Alabama beat Arkansas. And Chad, I'm just going to go ahead and say on Sunday, the Falcons beat the Saints when the place kicker for the Saints at that time shanked about a 30-yard field goal. So it was definitely the fall of the year. I remember that, and asked me where my keys are, and I may have a struggle to remember that. But
I thought you closed on 328.
No, we did not. No, that would have been Tom Brady closed things out on 328.
Oh, okay.
Just that reference.
My bad. Yeah. I get them confused. My bad.
Yeah, man, I'm never going out. Anyway,
no.
That's a good
that one's going in infamy, man.
And listen, and I'll never be able to shake that ever. We'll have to tell a story one time about how I'm personally to blame for the Falcons' collapse in the 2016 Super Bowl.
I can tell you a story. We'll do it later. Same. I feel almost personally responsible for the Falcons and Matt Ryan on that one. But anyway, sorry.
I'll definitely shift the blame to you, my friend. You can take that albatross off of me. But we were looking in the summertime and came across this house. And as I mentioned earlier, just kind of going through the process, you answering all of our questions, we were able to close right around mid-September. And we moved in at the end of that month. I remember it very, very well, the fall of the year. We were also felt like we were at that point in time with our finances being to where they could be. And as I mentioned, as we've talked about before, Chad, it is a process. It's not instantaneous. But we did want to look when we had more time to look because we really wanted to vet vet everything and make the decision that was best for us. And you were very generous with your time and with helping us look at different options that fit to within not only what we could afford, but man, something that we really wanted, and just getting that perfect match of both. So for us personally, it was the time of the year based upon our jobs at that time.
Well, and the reason we bring this up is because there is no exact answer. I mean, it's based on what you can tolerate because there is some stress and some anxiety that goes into it. It's the biggest purchase you're ever going to make. There's just a lot of moving parts as well, and you're dealing with getting a loan. Whether you're a slam dunk approval or a borderline approval. The truth is, most people panic about the approval on the loan side, no matter what. I have to calm people down every single day. Then you've got movers, you're switching utilities, you're trying to line up internet and cable, and you're just trying to do all these things. And that doesn't even count the logistics of work and kids and screaming and moving and sitters and whatever you can find. And then eating to go food for 2 or 3 days because you don't have groceries, things aren't unpacked or they're half unpacked and things are all over your kitchen table and your counters. I mean, it's crazy, right? You end up moving
Yeah.
and you move for months. You don't move in a single day. You move for months because you're constantly trying to get the house where you want it to be. And that doesn't happen day one. So there's a lot that goes into it. The stereotype is that people move in the summer months or the big ones. That's the hottest time of the year, literally and figuratively on the northern hemisphere. But that's when you are in a spot where kids are out of school. It's a little bit easier to work things around. A lot of times people sacrifice summer vacations and they spend that week moving or trying to get settled or whatnot. But the summertime is generally when most people do move. However, that's not to say that that's the only time you can move or should move. In fact, there's an argument that you should move opposite of that. And we're going to get into that here in just a moment. But more and more times people have been moving, especially in the last few years because of the inventory or the lack thereof and the heat of the market. And I know rates have been up a little bit in the last year and a half, but even still, people are buying homes and still seeing multiple offers today and whatnot. So there's not a right or wrong answer as far as the personal season of when to move. I mean, if December works for you, great. If you're relocating, you got a job change, well, you kind of have to do it then. If you get an opportunity to sell your home for a good price, maybe that's in February, not in July. So you move then. Just most times people target summer because you can transition schools, you can do certain things. You're not uprooting your life maybe as much as you would different times of the year. But again, there's no right or wrong answer for that. It's more of a personal choice. Let's transition to the time of the year in terms of the deal. So I mentioned that, and Jamie, you guys got a great deal on your house. You actually bought a HUD
Indeed.
home, a HUD foreclosure
We did.
back in the day. Yeah, got a fantastic deal on it.
Unbelievably fantastic. I can't
Yeah.
say that enough.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
insane, which is great. The thing is, today, those don't really exist, just FYI for people out there. Like, that was what, 2010,
Yeah,
right?
2010.
2009,
Yep.
2010. Yeah.
Mhm.
So that doesn't really exist. That's coming out of the greatest real estate crash pretty much in the history of the United States. So that doesn't happen right this moment. Who knows 10 years from now, but today that's not the case. So seasonality, though, people, again, stereotypically will buy in the summer. The problem, if you are a buyer, is that's when prices can be the highest because that's when everybody tends to move, or that's when they know there are going to be more buyers. So
Well,
if,
basic supply and demand, right?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that, and you a lot of times have more free time in the summer.
Mhm.
So I'm sure people you see and talk to and connect with are generally going to be moving during that time, or at least checking out and kicking tires at that point.
Yep, for sure.
So, what when you guys were we're looking, and then there's one other piece to transition to on this, but summertime, again, you have to help me. You got a better memory on this with your personal situation. What was the competition like? I mean, back then it was a completely different market, but at the same time, uh, did you happen to ever think like, man, there are more houses available, or man, there's more people looking right now? Or do you ever feel the pressure because it was the summer?
Well, early on, it was one of those things where I felt like maybe we need to jump on the first thing that we find because we've qualified and let's go ahead and get this show on the road. But one thing you really helped us with is letting us know that at that point in time, hey, we can be a little more patient with this because we can look at a variety of different options. And I remember vividly, we looked at homes that had just been newly built in new additions and neighborhoods
Yeah.
around the areas where we wanted to move to. Homes that were going to be built, that were just looking at blueprints and things like that. And then some much older homes, homes that were 30 to 40 years old. The home we're in now was built in 2006. So it was a relatively new home, 4 years old at the time. So we knew there were a lot of people looking around, but the fact that we looked at a variety of different options then, I never really felt the crunch about needing to beat someone else to the home. From my standpoint, it was we had been looking for and wanting to do this for a long time that I really had to practice. And Diane and I both had to do this, had to practice rather patience for both of us because
Yeah.
it's like we've come this far, we're almost there. Literally, we're almost home. If you want to do the baseball analogy, we're rounding third, but we got a little time to make sure this is the best fit for us. So that was our experience as I remember it. And it was cool to see the different homes. As a new home nobody had ever lived in, compared to a home like we have now, where there had been one couple living here, to homes that had no telling how many occupants in it before when we looked at some of the older models. But that was kind of cool because I realized at that point in time, it didn't have to be necessarily new, as long as it was what fit what we wanted the most, and that was the case with the home we're in now.
So the one last piece about the timing of purchasing a home always is one of those like Dave Ramsey-ish type topics. And the question gets, well, when should I buy? Well, you should buy at this point, or when you have this much money set aside, or when you save up 20% down, or when you can afford a 15-year mortgage, or, whatever the case may be. Here's my answer, and I'm fully a believer in this. And that is, you should buy a home as soon as you can qualify and as soon as you're comfortable with the payment. That means that if you can get into a house with 3% down, or maybe 100% financing, or 5% down, and if you can get in there and you're comfortable with what that payment is going to be on a month-to-month basis, you should buy right then. You should buy right then, because in real estate, historically, that is the best investment in the entire United States, is buying real estate. So that's how wealth is built. That's how you can set yourself up down the road. So anytime somebody says, "Oh, you shouldn't pay PMI," that's that's the biggest bunch of BS in the entire world. Let me real quick do a math lesson for you. I wish Kent Chambers was here. All right, so let's do a quick math lesson. All right.
And Chad, I
So,
had people ask me what PMI stands for too. That I was going to mention that as well while we were going through this.
yeah, so private mortgage insurance. That's another funny thing. You bring up a good point. Sometimes people know the acronym, but not what it means.
That happens
Private
in
mortgage
education all the
insurance.
time. Yeah.
So let's think about this. Okay, you want to buy a $300,000 house. I don't have a visual, so follow along. You want to buy a $300,000 house. 20% down is $60,000. Okay, 5% down is $15,000. So you say $45,000. Okay, 45,000 stays in your bank and you get to own a house. Think of it this way as well. You're going to go buy an asset and some idiot at a bank is going to give you 95% of the money to buy it. Like, you only have 5% skin in the game. Think of it that way. Okay. Now take that 45,000. All right. Here's what the cost of PMI is approximately. And this is not an offer to lend and all the disclaimer crap. But if you have really good credit and whatnot, we see this plenty of times. Like, you can get PMI for, in that situation, as low as, like, let's say $67 a month. Okay. $67 a month. So think of it in these terms. It costs you $67 per month, right? That's the cost of the PMI. The reason you have PMI is because you put $15,000 down payment instead of $60,000 down payment. So it costs you $67 per month to save $45,000 and keep that in your checking or savings account. So now let's take $67 a month, multiply that by 12. That's $804 per year that you spend to keep $45,000 in your pocket. That 804 divided by 45,000, that is 1.79%. Where can you go borrow $45,000 right now for 1.79%?
Nowhere.
The answer is nowhere.
Yep.
And if you find one, let me know. You can't do it because it doesn't exist. So my point in this is people need to quit throwing so much shade at PMI, because PMI is actually one of the greatest things in the entire world. Whoever came up with that idea that it's not cool is a communist, I think. I don't know what the deal is, but I just look at it. They think it's wasted money. But when you really crunch the number, Jamie, would you rather have $45,000 in your bank account or spend 67 a month to be able to hold back the 45,000?
Yeah, give me the 45,000.
Now, here's the only difference, and a naysayer is going to say, well, you're not counting this, and it is true. Obviously, you have a higher loan amount. So the loan amount makes your mortgage payment a few $100s higher, or 200 or 300 or whatever the number is.
Because
However,
you paid less up front.
because you paid less down. But that's simply based on the interest rate you get with the loan. PMI is what everyone always focuses on. And PMI is your friend. Like, literally, it should be your best friend. You should take it out, nice dinner, movie, whatever. I mean, PMI is amazing.
PMI and some TLC is what it sounds like.
It's yeah, it blows my mind when they kind of take these stereotypes and they run with them and they don't really understand the facts on it. And the other thing is, what happens if you're that person who didn't buy a house because you waited to get 20% down, but in the meantime, housing went up and now you missed out on the appreciating asset? So you're a perfect example of that, Jamie, because your house has done so well in Athens, and the growth that it's taken. I know when you were first talking about you and Diana, and you're like, oh, 40,000. I don't know if we can afford that right now. And you go out, but you buy something, you qualify, you get all this set up. I mean, who knows? Because we never know, what the future would have held. But I mean, look at the wealth you built, right? Over 14 years. I mean, I don't know of a better investment for you unless you wanted to gamble in Bitcoin.
No, I don't either. I mean, we purchased the house for $135,000, and the last time it appraised was right at $300,000.
Yeah, so think about that. Like, do that math. 135,000, and if you did 5% down, because that's what you can do today, you can do 3% down in some cases, but let's just say 5. You're spending $6,750 is what you spend, and that's to get into the investment. Now you have to pay it each month, but as you pay it, the balance goes down.
Yeah.
Now today, from a $6,750 investment, and the bank gave you 95% of the loan to get you in the house, and now today it's worth 2.5 times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Or almost a little less than 2.5 times. I mean, that's crazy, right? Just what it can do. So obviously there's situations where you want to, hey, all right, I'm going to sell this house in a year. Okay, well, let's think about it for a minute. But if you're in the market to buy real estate, unless it's a rare situation where you're going to sell quick, it's the best way to build wealth. I don't know if you have anything, personal story to add to that, but I get going on a soapbox with this PMI stuff, man. Like because the narrative blocks people from getting wealthy. And that's what drives me nuts about it.
Well, and people, if they don't even know what PMI means or stands for, much less the intricacies of it, like you just explained, they're going to go with what they've either heard or read or think maybe the only option to do with it. So that's where we can really help get people more informed about how things like PMI work.
Yeah.
And I know when we bought, you explained that to us, and I didn't know, but you were very forthcoming with that. And lo and behold, like I said, we had that. Last time our house was assessed was 2 years ago, and man, right at $165,000 more than what we paid for, which is incredible.
Yeah, unbelievable. So that's all we got for today. But I hope some of those topics, when to buy a home, don't wait. If you want to talk about a personal situation, for sure, reach out, ask us, let us know, set up an appointment. Also, do us a favor and like, subscribe, follow, hit the bell, check us out on the socials up there in the top right corner, like I said. And we appreciate you hanging out. And so this is only 4 episodes, but we're enjoying it. Hopefully, you're getting something from it. And of course, we'd love to chat with you if you've got questions that we could help you with or scenarios you want to run by us and so forth. And I know it's hard to believe, but the internet and TikTok are not always true. Okay.
the internets. Don't always believe everything you read on the internet. Wasn't that an Abraham Lincoln quote? That's one of my favorite memes. Don't believe everything you read on the internet, Abraham Lincoln. One of my favorite memes out there. But definitely hit us up. We want to talk with you and help out as much as we can. So click on that calendar link and set something up with us. We'd love to speak more with you about your individual situation.
Absolutely. And as we've always said, no judgments or anything. We've both been through bad and plenty of good. So we've kind of seen it all and love to help if you're looking for just some advice or a couple of people to talk to about it. So
yeah, been there, done that. A lot of experience, Chad, for sure.
Absolutely. All right. He's Jamie Golliver. I'm Chad Anderson. Thanks for hanging out. And we'll be back next week. Another episode, be number 5. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll talk to you then.
See you soon.